Good evening, Emory and Henry College. I'm Kevin Anzenberger, and this is another sports interview brought to you by EHCTV. Today, my guest here today is Brett Sample, area coordinator and director of intramurals here. I'm really excited about bringing this guest on today because it is the heart of intramural basketball season, and Martin Brock is rocking. So, Brett, thanks for being on the set with me today. And before I get into that, intramural basketball season, which is now, I want to talk about just your day-to-day operations and your yearly schedule. There's a lot of intramural sports going on this campus.
Sure, we have 23 different sports that we offer for students, faculty, and staff. It also includes some of the DPT program. They've been invited to come out and play as well, and they've been pretty active in the intramural program. So 23 sports, about 13 of those are what we call one-day tournaments. They happen just that day. And then we have the rest are season events. We're about 2 weeks of play and then a single elimination tournament. And then the winner of these tournaments get a very coveted intramural t-shirt that we put out every year.
Yeah, and I want to actually talk about that t-shirt. That thing, people are really envious of that t-shirt, and it drives a lot of people to some crazy things on the basketball court.
Sure.
But who designs that t-shirt? What goes into that?
Well, actually, I create or borrow from other schools in a design each year. There's a conference that I try to go to each year. It's the National Intramural Recreational Sports Association Conference. We're a member of that, and that is hundreds of schools that come together, talk about various issues, and then they have a big t-shirt exchange. And I try to grab a bunch of those and then look at that design. So which one would fit our campus? And then in the summertime, I go out and I drum up sponsorship for the intramural t-shirts, and that money is used to cover the cost of the shirts.
Yeah, you mentioned summer. That's sort of your off season, obviously, because there's no students here on campus. What do you do in the summertime to keep yourself busy? Is there a lot of conferences like that?
Well, there's some conferences that we go through to the beginning of the year, and midway through the year, the academic year, there's a national conference, there's regional conferences, there's state conferences. We try to get to as many of those as we can. In the summertime, our office, the Student Life office, is helping with summer conferences, summer housing, trying to get stuff ready for the fall, and so at that time I plan the intramural schedule, look at that and where sports are going to go and how it's all going to fit, and try to plan all that out ahead of time. So.
And you mentioned there's 23 sports. So is there a certain sport or a certain season that you like the most, or is maybe the most unique?
Well, I would say, there's a lot of sports that we have that I really enjoy us participating in and watching. Battleship is kind of a newer one that we started doing within the last 2 years, and we play that in the pool. You get in some canoes and you get some buckets and you try to fill up the other team's canoe, and students are really excited about that. They get really excited, and it's fun, but that's just one day sport. Basketball is obviously a big one that we have that it just attracts so many people. Volleyball is another one. Between basketball and volleyball, we had 20 to 22 teams participate each year, or averaging around that. And you think about it, there's 10 people on a basketball team, 20 teams. That's a huge chunk of our students that live on campus, and then that's not counting those that come and watch. So it like you said earlier, Martin Brock does it rocks out. I mean, you played basketball in other arenas for the school, and I've always wanted to know, how loud is Martin Brock compared to some of those venues that you played in?
Well, I like you're switching up interviewing me a little
Hey,
bit.
no problem.
Say, man, Martin Brock, there's points where I'm actually jealous of the fan support that intramural basketball gets, because it's almost louder than a lot of arenas that we play in, especially over Christmas breaks and stuff like that. So where there's nobody's
nobody's there
on campus. Yeah, but Basketball it seems to be the most popular and the most exciting. What goes into that on your part? I know you have a lot of student help as well.
Well, I have around 18 basketball officials. We offer a training for them, and then there's a constant, always on the job training that we do, between timeouts and half times, and at the end of the game we look at the officials and talk to them about, what we need to improve on and what they did really well. And so, with 18 officials, and, that's a lot of officials, but then we have a lot of games. So we start at 5, we end at sometimes 10 or 11 o'clock. So you've got 5 officials per game. So, 2 scorekeepers and 3 officials. And so we try to make sure that we're giving everybody as much time as they can, but making sure that we have the right officials at the right games. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned all that training and stuff. Do you find that hard on yourself? Do you have a help from actual officials and Kyle Cutshaw? Am I right?
We have actually, what's really great is that we have a lot of our students who are licensed officials, and we have some professionals like Kyle who comes and helps us do some training and stuff as well. And so having Kyle is a big asset. Kyle actually was one of our employees when he was a student here. And so it's always nice to have him around to help out. But the training is usually a one-day training. With our budget and our timing and everything, it's really hard to do more. But that's why we try to get students who are already having experience in that sport or some licensure as well. So.
Yeah, and our time's almost up, but I want to ask, the hostility that this basketball brings and stuff is obviously great for it because it brings fans, it attracts fans, but sometimes it can get a little overboard. Sure. How do you balance that, entertainment part of the hostility and the actual dangerous part of it?
Well, I think of it more of it as not necessarily hostility, but enthusiasm. Yeah. Everybody wants to win, and everybody wants their team to succeed, and they want to score a lot of points. But you have to understand that this is a student event. It's student run. It's student officiated, and so there's going to be mistakes. Our students aren't licensed officials, all of them. So helping them to keep that in mind really helps a lot. Putting that in perspective, reminding them of that. Our sportsmanship rating that we instituted this year for basketball, we'll probably add it to all our other sports next year. That helps some, but all in all, I think our students are really good students, and they want to win, but they understand that it's a game, So, and if you're out on the court and it gets a little hostile, it's always nice for the official to just call officials timeout and kind of let things kind of cool down a little bit. But Martin Brock does get loud. That's why we use Fox 40 whistles, because they're so loud that you can hear the whistle barely on those nights. So
that's awesome. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. I really wanted to talk more about the student help and stuff and get into some other things, but we got caught up. It's a great interview.
It happens.
And I'll see you later tonight.
Awesome.
I'm actually reffing tonight, reffing some games. So I'll
Great.
See you later tonight. And we will see you guys next week. That's it for this week's sports interview. I'll now send it over to the sports update.